The world wasn't going to change just because I was expecting it to. It needed to change because I was changing, and I needed to take control. So I started some self-improvement things. I was like, you know what? No more drugs, no more alcohol. From January 1st, 2000, haven't touched a drug. So 18 years. Yep. And you're only as good as you are, okay? So the self-improvement thing happened. Okay, so I was successful in Los Angeles, but I wasn't fulfilled. Like, even I had a show. I had this international hit show. It was like a Saved by the Bell type show. I had a house. I bought my own house. I had hot rods back in the day. I used to be a hot rod junkie, so I had a few hot rods. I rebuilt them myself. But I wasn't fulfilled. Like, something was missing. I had no mission. I had no purpose. And the first thing that I did that actually started to turn my life around was this self-improvement thing. And once I got on that treadmill, if you will, you don't come off. I keep thinking, when am I gonna be? Grant and I say this to ourselves all the time. When are we gonna make it? When are we gonna make it? And then I realized you just never do. You constantly improve. So you're only as good as you're gonna be. Even when Grant and I were first together, I still had that. We were married now. And no one tells you what marriage is. I thought marriage was monogamy, and that was it. I really didn't know there was more to marriage. I didn't understand about partnership or building an empire or being on the same page. I was married to Grant Cardone, and I hate to admit this because, should I tell them the prenuptial story? Okay, no. No, okay. Okay, the prenuptial story, I'll tell you really quickly. Okay, I got it, I'm good. Y'all wanna tell him to shut up, or should I? This is what I deal with. When you're with a man like Grant Cardone, you need to be extremely tough. You need to be able to roll with the flow at any time. Prenuptial story, really quickly, is when we were he asked me to marry him, and then like 2 weeks later, he tells me, this is not public information. This is just for you guys, by the way. 2 weeks after that, he's like, well, we're gonna need a prenuptial, right? And I'm like, what? Like, no, Like I was 30 when we got married. I didn't want to be with a man. I didn't want to be married. I wanted to be single, freaking hot rod chick, shooting shotguns, badass mofo for the rest of my life. And you're going to come to me, and I had a house and all my cars, and now you're going to come to me? I was the one taking care of all the guys, and you're going to say, you need a prenup? No, I don't think so. I was like, listen, I love you. I have never given my heart to a man before, ever. I gave it to you, you can have it, under one condition. There's no prenup. I don't do outs. If I'm in, I'm committed, and I'll figure it out. But I don't back out. If you need to back out, don't put a frickin' ring on it. That's the prenup story. So he said, okay. 15 years later, here we are. Now, prenup story was gonna lead into another story. Of course, I got all sidetracked. Okay, wait, it's coming back to me. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, so now I'm married to him. Shut up. So now I get married to him, but I still have my mom in the back of my head, and not just my mom, Hollywood. You've got to be this independent woman, never depend on a man, never do. So I was married to him. I made such a fuss over the prenup, but I always had one foot out, like 1 foot. I had my okay, you're gonna mess with me, I'm having plan B. I'm ready, I can take care of myself. But I had this, so I could never get on the same page with him because I was always out here, I can't support a man, I'm a freaking woman. I decided not to support men anymore because every time I took care of a man, it did not work out for me. We hadn't figured out our roles. I'm not saying that can't work, I didn't know what I know now back then to have made that work. Just had to clarify that. So you're only as good as you are. So in the beginning of our marriage, I gave up hot rods. Didn't think it would be appropriate to be hanging out with grease monkeys in the garage on the weekends. I gave up shooting because we traveled all around in our little tournaments and shot. I didn't think that would be appropriate. Grant never asked me not to do that. I just decided to do this. So now we're married. He wants to go. We're brand new married too, okay? And his brother lives 10 houses away from us, and they want to play Xbox every night. It was back in those days. And I was like, head blown. Like I was not used to this. I really don't want to sound conceited or anything like that, but I was not used to, that problem. And so, not a sex problem, though. There was never a sex problem, but there was a time problem. Like, he didn't want to be with me. And I looked at him to fulfill that void in me because I had given that up. And now I was expecting him to give that to me. So I was like needy chick, which I always hated, and I became needy chick. But once I became needy chick, I really could understand full circle about what I had been doing to other people my entire life. But anyway, I'm gonna get back on point here. It wasn't until I looked at that moment and I said, well, what have I gotten myself into now with this marriage? What do I do? I don't like this. This is awful. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's not home. He doesn't want to be with me. I'm going to bed alone. This sucks. And then I realized, no, it doesn't mean he doesn't want to be with you. It just means he wants to have fun playing Xbox with his brother. And once I looked at it like that, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. If I can't change him, maybe I change myself. How can I become an asset to him and to us and be so busy working on my own thing, but not as an FU to him, but as an asset to him and to us? And that's when I really started to work on myself even more and become committed, like a committed partner, not one of these bitchy partners why don't you spend enough time with me? But a really contributing partner, what do you need? How can I help? And then when he's with me, not bitch that he's on the phone making calls and, we're on a date together and he's doing social media, I realized the more I was just cool with whatever, the more he wanted to spend time with me. And now it's to the point where I've made myself such an asset. I have 2 kids. I have him to tend to all the time. Now I'm like, well, God damn, isn't there an Xbox game you can play? I don't want to be with you all the time. He's looking at me. He's so funny. You guys should live in my shoes for a day. I dare you. But you have nothing to give. You have nothing to give if you're broke or broken. If you don't have your mission, if you don't have who you stand for, what you represent as a couple, if you don't have a purpose together, something that is so big, you have nothing. What do you have? You have 2 people wandering off, monogamy. That's your relationship? That's your marriage? You have monogamy? Big freaking deal. What else do you have? Where's your legacy? Where's your partnership? No mission, no contribution. Some people just want to get rich. Where does that get you? Does that fulfill you? For real? Or do you want to build an empire? Yes. Exactly. You get what you deserve. I was expecting greatness, especially from the past boyfriends or in life or in my career. I was expecting greatness, and I wasn't giving greatness. I hadn't worked on myself. I hadn't learned discipline. Discipline. You know how hard discipline is? To keep your mouth shut sometimes when you don't want to? That's discipline. Sometimes some arguments with your partner are not worth having. You don't have to fight every battle. Your partner is not your enemy. Save that for the enemies. Discipline. If you say you're going to work out, work out. If you say you're not going to eat the dessert, don't eat the dessert. The more little things, and Grant calls me magical. I am, by the way, but that is the secret to my magic. I do what I say I'm going to do. It builds a muscle.